Hi, I'm Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we're here with episode 38 of
How Married Are You?
It's Chocolate Baby Story Time.
Yeah. So, Chocolate Baby Story Time.
Yes.
Have I even been here? Oh, yeah. So, this past weekend, if you were on Instagram, you saw my stories. It wasn't as bad as it was for you, but it was pretty bad. You left for Mother's Day.
I was sent away. I didn't just leave.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Yeah. We sent you away for Mother's Day as a gift. And
it sounds bad when you say we sent you away as a gift.
It was like everything just always happens. Like, I know it's hard. I know it's hard for you because there's always something going on. I came downstairs and Riot came upstairs. Dad, there's Cheerios everywhere. My brother spilled it. And I went downstairs and there were thousands of Cheerios. Thousands. And I was like, I didn't even know that many Cheerios came in the kitchen. I mean, in the box. The whole kitchen was covered. Like, it was a layer of Cheerios everywhere. And I just was like, dang it, man. And Anaya is just walking around, picking them up, putting them in her cup and eating them off the floor. It was just such, and I just made Theo clean it up. But he was trying to help his sister and get her some Cheerios, and which was very sweet. But he spilled everything. And so I was very upset with him. I just told him to go lay down because he's not very sorry, like apologetic. He's just kind of like, yeah, I did it.
And now what?
And what are you going to do? And so that irritates me. So I just like, man, go lay down. Because I don't want to hurt you, out of anger. So that's my Chocolate Baby Story Time. What's yours, babe?
I was going to share, I guess I could have shared this last week, but when I got my hair done and I came home from having gotten my hair done and I walked in and greeted the kids, and Naya goes to me and she goes, Mommy, you're beautiful. Like, that was the first time I heard her say the word beautiful. And we all knew it was beautiful. My dad even heard it. So there's no like, Yvette, you just heard what you wanted to hear. It was, she said it. And so it was just really sweet because it felt like she knows what beauty looks like. Not to say that I'm like beautiful, but
you are, babe.
I'm just saying, I don't know. It was really sweet. I loved it. It was a highlight.
That's amazing. That is how it's supposed to be. So big shout out to Chocolate Baby Stories. They keep us, humbled as parents. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, babe.
Yeah.
What's next?
So next we have words of affirmation.
Okay, let's go ahead and cue the music.
Words of affirmation is an opportunity for you guys to send a voicemail through the Anchor app or to send us a voice memo through DMs on Instagram. Follow us at How Married Are You on Instagram. Well, you just let us know what you like about the podcast, what keeps you coming back each week, and what hopefully keeps you sharing the podcast with all your other friends. Words of affirmation does not just have to be a voice memo or a voicemail. It could also be in the form of a review on the podcast app that you listen to this podcast on. So if you'd like to write up a little review, letting people know why they should subscribe to the podcast, along with a 5-star rating, we truly appreciate it. So yeah, here we go.
All right, let's go ahead and hop into these words of affirmation.
What's up, Beleaf and Yvette? This is Lauren from Seattle, and I just wanted to shoot you guys some words of affirmation. I am currently in a relationship, and it's been really great, but I come from a broken home, and I was not surrounded by healthy marriages and healthy relationships, and so listening to this podcast has
you don't stop. To the beat, y'all, and you don't stop. A freak, y'all, and you don't stop. To the beat, y'all, and you don't stop.
To this podcast has very much helped me to get a clear view and picture of what that looks like, that disagreements are okay and aren't always bombs that are being dropped. And so it's eased a lot of my anxieties and leveled my expectations in, moving forward with marriage. And it's been super awesome. So thank you guys for following the call on your life. It's been awesome. Love you guys.
Thank you so much for those words of affirmation.
Yes, that was from Lauren. Lauren is a patron supporter.
Nice.
And she used to host the Dream Junkies when we were on tour.
Oh, fun.
in Seattle. And we met her in Seattle. You met Lauren. Yeah.
Oh, at
Yeah.
Josiah's.
Yeah, she's such
show.
a sweetheart. So
Yeah.
big shout out to Lauren, who supports us and is very encouraging. So yeah. Oh, and if you want to support us in other ways, past the collection plate, we do this as, I don't know, kind of like a service and just a time for us to get together, but people really do receive a lot of benefit from it. So to give you an opportunity to, support the podcast, you can go ahead and donate to our donate to our PayPal or sign up for Patreon. And you'll get a lot of stuff coming soon. And we have so much news. Yvette is so tired.
Can you see it? Oh,
We
no.
see it, babe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We see it. We see
Here
it.
I go, guys.
But
Here I
I'm
am.
just saying, like, there is so much happening right
Yeah.
now that it's like when the Lord said he's going to make it overflow, it's overflowing right now. So we gonna, my cup runneth over is what I meant to say. But like, for real talk, like, if you want to support the podcast, you can.
Yeah.
There's so much big news coming, and we want to be able to give that to you soon. So make sure you support the podcast if you want to. Oh, what's the PayPal thing, babe?
PayPal.me/HMAY podcast.
And the Patreon is
Patreon.com/BIF.
very good, very good. And can I give you some words of affirmation?
Sure.
Babe, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
You killed the podcast last week.
I don't know about that.
No,
but
you set up all these lights and do everything that you don't even touch when I'm here.
I was watching you work today to set it up, and
And you were like, oh, I remember those days.
yeah, I was like, I guess I could be helping, but I am exhausted.
Yeah.
And the night that I did it, I wasn't as exhausted as I am this night. So
You were Wonder Woman last week.
but I can definitely, there is something that comes over me when you leave. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. It's like, I have to get it done. He's not here. It's kind of like, well, there's no one else.
If you were a single mom, you'd be killing it right now.
No, I'd be exhausted.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you knocked it out of the park. You got the podcast up on time. You leaned on me when you needed to, and you got everything done. And you even edited it. My gosh.
I apologize for the sound, guys.
Nah, you did a great job.
Thanks. But let's just say that it's nice to have you here because talking to myself, or I know I'm talking to y'all, but it's just like,
It was a very cute episode.
It
I was
was
watching
awkward.
you just I was laughing a lot for
Oh,
sure.
thanks.
But it was like good laughs. Like, oh my gosh, she forgot to scoot herself in. Or like, oh, she.
I didn't, and you know what, babe? The whole clapping thing is very important.
It's crazy because I do stuff and you're just kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you
Yeah,
doing that?
I look at you like you crazy, but I get it now because the thingy goes way up, and then you can easily align it.
That's called a slate.
Yes. Well,
Well,
you live and you
know.
learn.
All right. So,
Because I didn't do it one time, and I was like, oh shoot.
yeah. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to pick up from
Episode 36.
episode 36, where we're still going through a lot of those. I don't know, that the communication was off, and I felt like we've had some clarity since then, and so we kind of want to fill you guys in on how we're doing, or what we've learned about each other. And so Yvette had a really important meeting that she made, and How did that go, babe?
So in episode 35, I mentioned there were two people that know Glen very well. And one of them was Julie. And I kind of want to bring some context to who these people are, because I feel like in the comment section, people are like, there should be no one that knows your husband better than you, blah, blah, blah. Which, no offense to y'all, but I don't really.
Some of you don't get people like, you know, some of your kids you don't understand.
Yeah, like I feel like it takes time to get to know someone, and these people have had more time with Glen than I've had. And there's just a different connection that they have with him.
Not even more time. They haven't had more time with me, but we are very similar type of people.
Yeah.
So, and they've already been past our season.
Yes.
So they also know.
They have hindsight, insight.
Yeah, they know what I felt. They know what I'm about to feel, and they know what I'm feeling at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have they have really good insight. So
yeah.
What did you learn from Julie?
So she listened to episode 35.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so she got to listen to it, and
tell her what happened. Tell them what happened when she was listening to it.
Oh, so she was listening to it at work. And I guess while she was in the office, like, you know, her door was closed or whatever, she would say things like, no, don't say it. Oh, she was just having so many different reactions that her coworkers were coming in and like, are you okay? What's going on in there?
Everybody, a lot of people were telling me that they were cursing me out and screaming at me in the car, and it was a lot.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I don't think it was that bad, but I guess if you're like on the outside looking in, it's different.
And most people like carry these relationships so close, like their own spousal relationships, that they wouldn't dare do anything to like mess it up or risk it. Mm-hmm. And it's so fragile. And so when you hear us talking like, well, I think you're jealous, and you know what I'm saying? We heard that. Welcome back. Me.
You're gonna edit that out, right?
All right. So
some people hold their relationship. Go ahead.
They hold a relationship so close, they're fragile, and so when you hear some people like us talking extremely raw, it's kind of like, what are you guys doing? You know. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, she had some really good things to say. I actually have a piece of paper here where I took notes. She mentioned, like, one of the first things she said that I wrote down was healthy communication is not free from high emotion. And I think that that's kind of valuable for people to realize. I think I kind of already.
Let's break it down. Healthy communication is not free from high emotion. Okay. So that means that when you're talking about stuff, it's okay to feel things. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I think that gives us kind of a permission, because it's like, not that I wouldn't not say what I was feeling, but I felt bad when I said it. Mm-hmm. And so this gives me more of kind of like, okay, it's okay for me to speak my mind, have these feelings. And it helps when it helps me that I know I have a safe space to tell you certain things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's a word right there. What was the quote again?
Healthy communication is not free from high emotion.
Yeah, that's big, man. She's a G for that. What else, babe?
One of the things she said, too, was my engagement in the thing is what Glen is jealous of. So, like, when I'm planning an event, whether it's Easter or a baby shower or a birthday party or whatever, the amount of enjoyment and enthusiasm and energy that I put into planning those things or putting those things together is what he's more so like, he wishes I would put it toward the things that he has going on or the things that we have going on as a family. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of, I think Glen did a decent job of expressing that.
Got some bugs in here, guys. It's a garage. Don't freak out.
I think Glen did a decent job of expressing that, but hearing it from Julie, I don't know why it made it more.
Yeah, because I said I was jealous, and I really was trying to explain like why I was jealous, and then I felt like your lack of gusto toward what we had over here was like you being jealous, so you would put more energy into that as like a way to take away from, like, I had all types of like analyzings going on in my head. And so the freedom, the emotion, the excitement, the care, like it's a job, like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like the Olympics, you've trained your whole life for this. Like that's what I was like, man, I'm sad. You know what I mean? But I didn't also want you to feel guilty. I just was like, I don't understand. Like I just could not, I can't fathom going that hard for something.
Yeah, and I like the way you put it. Like I feel like when you said to me that it's like, if Yvette, if you're going to be chopping wood to put in someone's furnace, why not chop it to put in my furnace and light my fire rather than putting it in someone else's furnace to light their fire? I feel like that was a very good analogy for me to hear in order to kind of get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's a good word.
Okay. And I think this was probably the biggest part of our discussion that we had, but she's like, it's more of a values thing that we need to like discuss, like what are our values? And then she asked a couple of questions. She said, do we value our children growing up in long-term healthy relationships? What's our capacity at this stage of our life to cultivate a community of long-term friends? And so basically it was like, is that something that we value? Are we valuing, like that's something that I value because I experienced it growing up. And I think Glen, even I think at one point you said you value what you didn't have and I value what I had. And what I had was a village and what you did not have was a tight-knit family. Yeah. And so I definitely think she was spot on when she was talking about the values discussion there. Another part of that was what amount of commitment we're willing to put into our professional life. And yeah.
And so I kind of want to take a step back and just talk about our values have not changed. You are still hard on, like, we need the tribe, the family, the friends, the outside, right? And I'm still like, no, we do.
Are you saying in the matter of 2 weeks have the values changed? No,
the values have not changed. And so I think you're waiting for me to come over there, and I'm waiting for you to come over here. And so
the question is, where's the middle? Or do we meet in the middle?
Well, I'm just saying, like, have we settled on that? Like, have you thought about, I think I could.
And so what I will say is that one of the things that Julie was saying is that it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. It can be both. We can value both things. It's just how we value them. Like, what does that look like for us, for our household, is the discussion that we really need to have. Yeah. And then she was also talking about, I don't think I wrote it down, but it was basically like, excuse me, sorry, I shouldn't have had a drink before. I know. She was basically even saying that some of our friends like may not get like where we are in life. And so I don't know if this is worth, you might need to edit this out.
Just say it.
But she was saying that some of our friends may not necessarily be along for the entire ride, or there may be seasons in our future where some friends will not be as close or involved as they are now, just because of where the Lord's taking us. Not that he can't take them there with us, but that we might need to cultivate different types of relationships. And I may be interpreting this wrong because sometimes I have conversations with people And they'd be like, Yvette, that is not what I said. But it's how I took, how I took it. So if you're listening to this, Julie, I'm trying to do the best to honor what you said to me.
And so next time, Julie, she will be wearing a mic. She will be wearing a wire.
Yeah, I know. I was wishing that I had mic'd her up.
Because there was so much that she was trying to re-say to me, and I was just like, I don't get it. I want to get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I think about this because I do care. I love our friends. We have the greatest tribe ever. And actually, one of the patrons, I talked to the patrons on the phone, and some of the patron supporters on the phone, and one of them was like, man, like, I really want to get to know the rest of the people in your community. You know what I mean? And I don't know if any of our friends would be up for something like that, but I don't really try to film anybody without permission, and I don't ask for permission a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, because I just want to capture the moment. And so if I have to go through like a whole waiver situation and like an awkward moment, I'm just not going to do it. But I would be interested to know if any of our friends would want to be involved a little bit more. Because then it would help me in like my always creative mind thinking. In addition, I do know that the children like love their friends. But what the biggest request that we get, besides let's go to Levi's house or let's go to Sailor's house, is family night. Like, I want family night. Raya is me. I don't want nobody there but us. I want pizza and movies, and I don't want to go to sleep. Like,
they just like it when the 5 of us are together.
And so I think if we prioritize that, then when we get to see other people, it feels like a treat instead of the main situation. You know what I'm saying? So I think prioritizing family nights is going to be big. So, I mean, like, that's a value for me. Like, family night. Yeah,
for sure.
And that includes family night for us includes a game. And then in a game. That's pretty much it for now. But we should do 2 things: family night and a family meeting. I was hanging out with some people last week that really exposed me to a lot of awesome thoughts. In a family meeting, and I'm in this mastermind, this inner circle mastermind for influencers, and I was exposed to a lot, and it was great. And so one of the things was a meeting. Because anyway, I'm sorry. Do you want to?
Yeah. There was so much in this conversation, you guys. I'm not doing it justice. It's literally been like 2 to 3 weeks since I've had the conversation, right? So it's not necessarily fresh in my mind. I will say that a couple more things that she said. One of the things she said is we haven't made the full transition for me to be home yet. And so that means like...
Did that offend you?
Did it offend me?
Yeah.
I don't think it offended me because I kind of know it already.
Okay. Because when I used to say you're transitioning, you would get mad at me.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Yvette's transitioning right now. You know, stop saying that. I'm here. Remember that?
Yeah. And the way she described it to me was like
laugh at my jokes.
It's not funny.
It was hilarious.
Okay, good. Haha. The way she described it to me was that her and her husband went through something similar where her husband was working from home and she'd be downstairs and she might like call him and be like, hey, like, can you come do this? And his job required him to kind of, I forget what field he's in, but he had to kind of keep looking at the screen. But by the time she called him, she interrupted his attention. So he lost his place. And so he'd have to like stop what he was doing in order to go help her anyway. And they had to have a conversation where it was like, okay, so if I weren't home, like, how would you have managed that? And it was like, well, I either would have done it myself or I would have waited for you to get home. And it was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, so then it's kind of the same. I'm still working. Can you wait for me to be done working type situation? And so I think the same is true for us. Like with Glen working from home, the kids and I believe we have access to him all the time. I feel like we have some days where we do really well about leaving him alone, and then there are other days when it's like, Dad, Glenn, Papa.
Most days it's like that.
Really? You think most days is like that?
Absolutely.
Oh my!
I just don't think you I just don't think you have to like. You pay attention to it because you don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But think about how many times Anaya just comes in. Hi, Dad. Hi. Beautiful. Me? What you watch? Like she like wants to see what I'm watching. She wants to sit on my lap. Don't look at me like that. Like it's not true.
How am I looking at you?
You're looking at me like you're in disagreement.
I'm smiling. I'm listening.
I think you just try to stay awake, real talk. But
What?
but most days are like that, and I don't know. I think the only solution is for me to like get in office. Mm-hmm. Like even when I was at the inner circle, right, the mastermind, which sounds like a cult, but it's
I know.
not. I promise.
was like, are you even allowed to talk about it?
It sounds like the Illuminati. Like it sounds like the Illuminati.
Okay, keep going.
But anyway,
What's your point?
when I was there, I was talking to people and they were like, yo, when you have an office, it maximizes you and you get so much more done. They're like, I only spend 4 hours in my office a day, and I get way more done than I did before, you know? And so I believe that I'm eventually going to have to get an office space, and it's going to, you know, hopefully increase productivity. So
Yeah, and we actually just had a conversation with a gentleman who said something about like, what did he say? Like, if you work 50 plus weeks, if you work, like, there's a
50
certain
plus
number.
hours. Yeah. If you work 50 plus hours a week, then any hour after that is less productive than, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. I really want to get the.
I believe it was a
statistics.
podcast by Michael Hyatt. Michael Hyatt was on it, right? I don't
Oh,
think
I
you were
don't
talking
know.
to somebody.
No, it was Trevor that we were talking to.
Oh, Trevor. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to a podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But he was saying something about like there's a certain number of hours a week that if you surpass that number, then the productivity goes down. So it's kind of worthless. And I really wanted that number because I just want Glenn to be aware of it.
Do you think I do more than 50 hours of work a week?
Oh my gosh, you work all the time. You don't think you do? I'm itchy.
Okay.
Like,
Let me scratch.
yes, go.
Where at?
Over here. Up. No. No, you gotta go on
What are you talking
the
about?
side.
You have to tell me.
Up.
Where your bra is over here. The shirt is in the way.
I just need the shirt, the bra.
There?
I no more.
What? Down? Up? Side?
I give up.
No, I'm helping.
I just want to be itchy. Anyways, the other thing that I did appreciate about my conversation with Julia is the acknowledgement for how much I'm doing. Like, I know that I feel like Glenn's doing a lot, and I think sometimes I discount how much I have going on because he has so much going on and on his plate, and because the things that I do don't necessarily bring in money, but in the long run they do, because they're like helping him be freed up to do what he does or whatever. But I just appreciated her acknowledging she counted the podcast and homeschool as part-time jobs.
They are.
Being a mom of 4 and a wife.
And like working and doing everything you do. And I don't necessarily believe that like the only value that you do is like allowing me to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like what you do is everything. But when I see, like, I don't like to ask for anything. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of my hardest things, is like asking for help, you know? So when those type of things come up, you know, whatever it is, and I see, I'm like, dang, I wish I would have asked for this day and all that energy, you know? And so, but you know what? I think I came to the conclusion, and when I learned from 35, 36, is that those are episodes of the podcast we're talking about, which if you haven't watched, please go back and watch them. Or listen. What I learned is just to kind of wait for you. Like, I don't need you to be like that for me.
Like what?
Like you are about the things that you love. Like, that is not your responsibility. Like, your responsibility is to be mom and friend and culture of the home in the community. You know, like, those are your giftings, and I shouldn't expect that. Like, I think eventually you're going to get it, and you're going to be like, you know, it's kind of like my situation with the Dream Junkies. How I was on tour, traveling around, doing all this stuff, going hard for, you know, this cause, that when it came down to it, the cause wasn't about me. And I realized that, and it hurt. Like, I was hurt, you know? And I saw that even in those moments, I was doing something that was financially profitable, but it wasn't home focused. And so I had that revelation, and I had that revelation. It's mine. You know what I'm saying? And you'll have your own revelations. One thing I do want to mention, though, is my homie Uncle Reese hit me up. He said he listened to the podcast, and he's from Florida, so he talks like a dude from Florida. And he's like, man, like, he's like, man, I just realized that, like, I be saying the same stuff to my wife, man, and you ain't tell her nothing. He's like, you didn't say nothing to her. What is she supposed to do, bruh? And I was like, he's like, man, you just saved my marriage. I'm going to just be my wife's friend. I'm going to just leave her alone. And then he cashed at me.
He did?
Yes. He was like, I owe you money, fam. He's like, I owe you money, bro, because you just saved my marriage.
Well, what did you spend the money on?
Babe, that went right to our account.
Did it?
Yes. All our cash apps go right to our account. All my cash apps do that.
I don't think so.
It's very true.
Okay.
So, yeah, so he's like, man, I'm gonna just, like, my wife, man, I'm gonna just leave her alone. I'm gonna just let her do her thing and just be her friend, man. I ain't gonna ask her to do nothing. I'm gonna just try to find an employee instead, you know what I'm saying? Because he's like, because I'm gonna have to fire somebody, and I can't fire my wife. And so what Uncle Reese told me is just like, man, just be her friend and just let her do her, you know. And you know, when you want to be included, then allow for that, you know what I mean? And when it doesn't really fit, then it doesn't fit, you know? So I was very encouraged by the conversation, and I just want to be a friend. Like, I want you to be involved, you know? But I don't want you to be involved against your will. You know what I'm saying? But, however, I do know that, like, the things you see valuable aren't necessarily, they are valuable to me, but that doesn't mean I have to do those things. You know what I'm saying? And that is just where we're going to have to collide. And I'm just going to have to hold my ground and say, you know what? That is really awesome that so-and-so is having a piñata celebration, but I'm not going. I can't. You know what I mean? Because to say yes to the family, that means I have to say no to a lot of other things, you know? So that's what I learned. That's what we learned from episode 35, 36. We will be implementing these things in a podcast near you or soon to come, and you'll hear some stories about how we've grown from this situation, because I feel like this is a very common thing in marriage where one spouse does not feel supported or something, you know what I mean? Or you guys aren't even on the same page or in the same chapter, you know what I mean? And when you're in a different chapter, sometimes you wonder if you're in the right book, you know what I mean? I like my analogy. That's a pretty good analogy.
Do you feel like you're not supported?
What? No, I feel like I'm supported. But I feel like some of your other friends are like supported and celebrated and supported. You know what I'm saying?
You don't feel celebrated.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I'm not trying to compare it to where I am. I'm just saying that there's a difference and you know it. What are we doing? Are we starting back over?
I'm trying not to, but I'm confused.
No, like I'm not. I guess supported was the wrong word, but
And then you said celebrated, lack of celebration.
no, but like when you do the things you do, it's like I want to celebrate this person. I want to support this person. I'm going to do whatever I can to make this happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I guess the like celebrating you and supporting you looks different than it does for other people. Because if I were to do the things that I do for other people for you, you'd be irritated. Hence your 25th birthday surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't about that life. I think you enjoyed it, but you would have rather just go to a movie.
Because I just wanted time alone with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't my 25th birthday.
It was your 30th. When was it? Some birthday. Whatever birthday it was.
We got married when I was 25, fool. Yeah.
Oh. Was it your 30th?
Probably my 30th. But yeah, I just wanted time with you. That's all.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I just want to let you know that I do feel supported and I do feel celebrated. My birthday this year was amazing. It was and I just realized this is just who you are. Like, you are a celebrator. That's what you are. And I don't feel right that our word for the year is celebrate because it's easy for you. So you just try to apply some crap on me.
No.
Yeah, we got to change our word mid-year.
No. Go back and listen to the sermon that initiated that word.
All right. So listen, I'm just telling you, it's hard for me to celebrate. It's easy for you. It's not fair. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so how married are you, babe?
I'm so married that I sent you away for Mother's Day.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I sent
saw
you away
that
for
one
Mother's
coming
Day.
5 days ago. How many days ago was that? 3 days ago.
You were like, he gonna use this for his thing. Well, anyway, that's how married I am. We got you a king size bed and a tub and all of the things.
And a facial.
A facial for you to enjoy. And I was just hoping that you were having a good time.
And I did.
And yeah.
I feel like that should happen once a month.
See, what's happening between baby moons and push gifts and once a month and hairdos? Like,
yo, I asked Glen. I'm so married. Ask me how married I am.
How married are you?
I'm so married that I asked for. Now, mind you, Glen doesn't even. I don't even know if Glen actually ever really knew what a push gift was, right?
I know what
I
a
think
push
the
gift
first
is.
time I said
the
it,
first time I did not.
Glen was like, "What?"
You just making up stuff.
And so, anyways, I had to school him on what that was. But I'm so married that for my fourth child, I really do want a push gift, and I asked that my push gift be a housekeeper for a year. Is that too much to ask? Leave it in the comments below. Is that too much to ask? Maybe just once a month.
We're not in a tax bracket that we have housekeepers yet.
Babe, there are like people who will clean your house for $80. That's a little bit of money, really.
No, it's not.
$80 to clean your whole house.
Babe, get out of here. What are you talking about?
Come on. I need somebody. I wish there was somebody here to tell him.
Yo, I just don't think we're there yet.
Even if it was $150 a month, I think it's worth it. I'm about to have 4 kids.
I know that you asked for this child. When did the push gift not become the push? What you pushing out? Come on now. Now I understand. Somebody gonna send me the little grid that has all this, the centimeters, how many dilated or whatever. I understand that, but she wants the children. I'm not making her have the babies. I'm not sneaking these babies in there. She's asking for it. Hello. Fourth and final. That's my hashtag for the rest. Fourth and final. That's my hashtag. So she wants for pushing out the baby. She wants a house cleaner for the whole year. That's extreme.
I don't think that's a lot to ask for.
Oh Lord Jesus.
I mean, there are women out there who ask for like really expensive jewelry. I'm just asking for something very practical and something that'll give me more time with you. And that's just how married I am.
Hold on, babe. We had a podcast a couple
I'm done.
months ago.
We're done.
Talking about you being high maintenance.
No. And that's just how married we are.